Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Willie, and this is the encouraging word for today. The end is just the beginning. When we look at life, we as human beings look at life, we have a problem of perspective. It's a famous story that's told of 6 blind men, and they come across an elephant. So they decide to touch the elephant to describe it and learn what it's like. But they're each touching a different part of the elephant. The first one felt the elephant's body, just the main part of the body. It felt hard, it was big, it was wide, and he had concluded an elephant is like a wall. The second one touched one of the tusks, the ivory tusk. It smelled smooth and hard. He said an elephant is like a spear. Third man touched the elephant's trunk. It was long, thin, wiggly. He said an elephant is like a snake. The fourth man touched one of the legs. It was thick and rough and hard and round. He said an elephant is like a tree. I forget what the other two said, but they all had a different perspective because they were looking at it or touching it from a different part of the body. God says in Isaiah 55:8-9, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so my ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." We cannot even imagine God's perspective. We're locked into our physical, linear, meaning going from past to present world. God sees things totally differently in a way we cannot even imagine. We see beginnings and we see endings. And when there are endings, we are rightly devastated, confused, full of grief. Our world is turned upside down. We're hurt. It's painful. It could be the loss of a career or a job we've had for many years. It could be the death of a loved one, the breakup of a relationship, a dead end in ministry, a disability, a sickness. It could be anything that just a dream that we had that we suddenly realize is never going to happen. And these things turn our worlds upside down. And because we are human and we are locked in this world, we don't see it from God's perspective, and we can't. So it's normal for us to go through those feelings of distress and grief and have a difficult time adjusting. Now, Paul has been having an amazing ministry. He's been preaching, he's been teaching, he's been healing, delivering people from demons, traveling all around, establishing churches, training leaders. He's got a whole network throughout that whole region of the world that he's started. But let's look at what happens in Acts 22 through the first part of 24. There's a riot going on because the people are upset that Paul has entered the temple, the Jewish temple. They think he has a Greek guy with him, but he doesn't, and they're trying to kill him. And so this mob, this crazed mob, is screaming, beating him, and we'll pick up the action at Acts 22:22-24. "Rid the earth of him. He's not fit to live." As they were shouting and throwing off their cloaks and flinging dust into the air, the Roman commander, ordered that Paul be taken into the barracks, and he directed that he be flogged. Paul was arrested and put in prison. If you know his story, he was headed for trial. He was going to have no more freedom in his life. No more freedom to travel where he wanted. And eventually he would die in prison at the hands of the Romans. It was the end of ministry and the end of life as he knew it, as a free person. It was an end from Paul's point of view. But God saw it different. God saw it as a new beginning, a new chapter in Paul's life. Unexpected, yes, not to God, but to Paul. Unwanted to Paul, but not to God. But God still had more for Paul. The end was a beginning. And the next few days, we're going to, on the encouraging word, we're going to be looking at Paul's mindset as a prisoner. His old life is over, and a new, uncertain life has begun. But Paul, as a prisoner, wrote books, and those books are part of the Bible: Philippians, Colossians, Ephesians, and Philemon. So, beginning tomorrow, we're going to begin looking just at his mindset from a few parts of these books. We're going to start with the book of Philippians. And it will help us understanding Paul's mindset. Listen, is going to help us as we face endings in our lives, whether it's a job, a dream that we had that ended, a relationship, a ministry, the loss of someone we love. We're going to learn principles to apply in those situations. It's a very real situation. A few minutes before I was preparing this, I already had this prepared. I received a text that a man named Bob Snyder had died. He was a watcher of the encouraging word, about my age. And so I want to offer condolences to his family today, especially to his wife, Jody, his children, grandchildren, and his siblings. But I know one thing. Bob was a serious follower of Jesus. I know that for sure. And because he was, I know that his end is just the beginning. So join me on this journey the next couple of days as we learn a mindset for times of life change in our lives. God bless you, and I'll see you tomorrow.